What's good, YouTube? Sanzy3. What the fuck it is? Finally time to do another manga review. Haven't done one of these in a while, of course. Well, I haven't made much videos in a while, but I need to do this one and another one after this because I just think it's time. I'm bored. I see myself being bored like when I'm not in school, like for pretty much until my semester ends. So now I'll have time to consistently upload whenever like a subject or some sort of idea comes to mind, and I'll just put it on my channel. But if I don't consistently upload, then I'll just do streams as usual. Yeah, but actually I have another video to make with the fandom group tonight at 9, or a call to record. So, but yeah, this is going to be my review of JoJo's Part 7 Steel Ball Run, and I'll be trying my best to talk about like everything, what I like about it, and I guess I can start off with like this. So my favorite series, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Gintama, Toriko, like those are all series that I like a lot. Though that's pretty much my top 4, top 5 right there. Top 4, top 5 series right there. But I think I've always been fair in like criticizing them, and like with some of the flaws I think in each series. I think with Yu Yu Hakusho I was like, Chapter Black, like Sensui's plan didn't make much sense. Toriko, I just feel like the characters are good, but there's just not enough they're just not that interesting, I guess, in terms of like the human drama and the emotion, and I feel like the art can sometimes be a little shoddy. With Gintama, I felt like maybe some of the speeches or some of the human drama can be a little forced, and they just don't feel genuine to me. Humor is obviously on point though, and with Dragon Ball, of course, I just feel like sometimes the pacing can be too fast, and things happen too quickly, and they just don't feel some things like it feels like more time should have been spent on them to explain things better, right? So yeah, like I've always been fair, in my opinion, and maybe that's just me being biased, but I felt like I've always been fair in like criticizing like all the series that I like, right? However, with with Part 7 Steel Ball Run, like this to me is like as perfect a story as you can get. Like as far as I'm concerned, like this is a 10 out of 10, and the other manga that I'm going to review is also pretty much a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. But Steel Ball Run to me, like JoJo's Part 7 is, as far as I'm concerned, is a flat out 10 out of 10. Like I just cannot find anything wrong with the series. It's the perfect length. It's not a chore to read. The characters are awesome. The world is just fantastic. The art's amazing. The action is amazing. The story is amazing. There's enough interest. It generates enough interest. There's enough mystery. You can feel for each character. You can feel like the movement of the of the horsemen as like they're like riding on the horses, like with the little like streaks in the panels and everything. Like these are all things like it's just so amazing. There's clever references to like previous parts, and so this is by far a 10 out of 10. Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7, if it was just a standalone manga, which in some cases, which you can make that argument that it is, but I'm just saying like if you wanted to like separate that from the rest, or if I were to separate that rest from the rest of the other parts 1 through 6, Part 7 on its own would be my 4th favorite manga like ever. Dragon Ball number 1, Yu Yu Hakusho number 2, Gintama number 3, Part 7 number 4, Toriko number 5. That would be my top, or my favorite 5 manga right there. It's just that good. I pretty much all the characters I like. I can't think of a single character that I don't like. Maybe Blackmore, but maybe Well, actually, I'll take that back. Like, there's not a character that I think is a bad character. I'll say it like that. Is a bad character in Part 7. Not even freaking Avdol's counterpart in at the beginning of the race, the one that lost on the camel. Like, I wouldn't even consider him like a bad character. He's certainly not a special character, but he's not a bad character. But anyway, this to me is just like one of the best things, like not only that I've read, but I feel like it's one of the best things that anyone can read. And yo, King Recon, if he's watching this video, yo, you already know he's hyped. Like like I think like that's like his second favorite manga, like on a standalone. I think so, right? Maybe I might be tripping, but. And his favorite character is Diego Brando. Second favorite character ever is Diego Brando, only behind Gintoki. But yeah, like he can tell you the greatness of Steel Ball Run too. And how many other people have actually read Steel Ball Run that Oh, Hero has, but I don't think he's done a review of it yet. I think Phoenix Sky has. I don't think he's done a review of it either. But part 7 of JoJo's to me is just like so perfect and amazing. So let me get into it. If you guys want to know basically what part 7 is about, so part 7, this is spoilers for the end of part 6. Actually, no. Before I get into the summary of part 7, let me talk about kind of like about my problems with the other parts. Part 1, I guess, is just I'm in 2015 or 2013, 12, 11, 14, whenever I read it. And, that's just sort of like a generational thing. I'm reading like a 1980s manga, and like my expectations or something are different because I'm in 2015. So that was kind of like it was still a part that I enjoyed a lot, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite. Part 2 was amazing. Part 2, I think Part 2, I just felt like some of the explanations behind of Joseph's Twins were just a little too over the top, but I would say part 7 is my favorite, part 3 is my second favorite, and then part 2 and 6 I would say are tied for they're basically 3 and 4. So those would be my favorite parts, and then 4, 8, 1 and 5. So 4 and 8 would be like 5 and 6, and then 1 and 8 would be like 6 and 7. Am I forgetting? Wait. 1, 5, 4, 8, 2, 6. Can I count? I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting. Well, wait. Okay, 7, 3, 2, 6, 4, 8, 1, 5. Okay. I thought I was not counting correctly. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I fucking do accounting and finance, and look at me. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, like part 3, I just felt like the pacing was too fast. Part 2. Part 1 and 2 I already explained. Part 4, I just felt like the story was too disconnected. Part 5 was just too... It wasn't that it was too wacky. It just didn't leave much of an impression or impact on me. Though I do say that like after reading Part 5 like a couple times over now, like it's starting to grow on me more than it should have. Same thing with Diavolo. Don't get... Hey. Don't jump the gun. I still think he's not that good, but he has been rising a little bit. I may even like him more than Funny Valentine, but I still do think he's not my kind of like a shit villain. Maybe I don't. Well, I won't say a shit villain. Maybe that's too harsh. But anyway, part 5 is just a little too out there for me. Part 6 was the same. It was just like too bizarre. Like the rods. Remember that guy with the rod ability? I think it was Donatello. I think his name was towards the end of part 6. The one with the rod ability, and it just like it was kind of like a almost kind of like a chore for me to read at times, but it was still like I thought it was still like a good part, especially with like Jolene and what she was doing like towards the end of part 6, when she was fighting those three, the three before Poochie. You guys know what I'm talking about. I won't say it because I don't want to spoil. And then there was like that whole mystery with the notebook to heaven, the green baby, all of that. But yeah. But with part 7, I have no problem. Like I was saying, like the art's amazing, the story's amazing, the characters are great. I enjoy pretty much everything about it. And so now I'll get into the synopsis of part 7. Part 7 is basically about like this race across the United States called the Steel Ball Run, and various people enter it for various reasons, for money, wealth, fame, yada yada yada. But the main meat of the story concerns Johnny Joestar and Gyro Zepelli, and the cool thing about this is that both of them together are the main characters of part 7. It's not just Johnny who's just by himself the main character of part 7, because usually like with JoJo's, like the quote unquote the JoJo, the Joestar, the Kujo, whoever, or in Giorno's case the Giovanna, Higashikata with Josuke, like all those characters are just by themselves like the main characters of their respective part. But here in part 7, Johnny and Gyro together like they are the dual main protagonists, the dual main characters of the part. And so that's pretty cool. So basically it's about Johnny and Gyro participating in the race but collecting the corpse parts of a particular saint. And I don't want to say who that saint is because that might give it away, but yeah, and pretty much the president and his lackeys, his henchmen, minions, whatever you want to call them, are trying to get the corpse parts for themselves so that they can secure America as the greatest country in the world. So, if you guys play Metal Gear, just to make a an allegory. I think the word is, or sort of a just to compare it to a similar character. In my opinion, I think like Solid is Snake in terms of like being the president and being the villain of the series. Solidus was obviously the villain of Metal Gear Solid 2, and part 7, the villain of the story is the president of the United States, which is pretty interesting and crazy, right? But yeah, it's just a fantastic story. I'll get into some of my favorite characters. Johnny and Gyro together are my favorite character. I can't choose. If I had to choose one, I think I would choose Johnny, but together they're pretty much like my favorite characters of the part, and they've actually creeped into my top 10. So I'll just give you my top 10 real quick. My top 10 favorite characters in manga and anime. 1, Goku, of course. 2, Kentoki, of course. Kenshiro. 3, of course, Yusuke and Spike. 4 and 5, of course. 6, Akira Inugami from Wolf Guy Wolf and Crest, if you've read that. 7 would be Jotaro, my favorite JoJo's character ever, from part 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, he was there in 5. So yeah, he would be another JoJo's character. Number 8 would be I just said Akira Inugami. Brad Burns from Green Blood, if you've read that. Number 9 would be Kenshin from Kenshin, and then 10 and 11 would be Johnny and Gyro. So you can go with either one of them in my top 10. Like they've like that's what reading part 7 has done to me. Like Johnny and Gyro have creeped into my top 10 after reading it, and pretty much like almost like a month ago, or like a month and a half ago, I started going through JoJo's all over again. So I pretty much started at part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and basically what I was doing was that because I was waiting for like the JoJo's Colored Adventure to like put out the chapters for me to read them. I didn't want, and I just got to the point where I was like, screw it, I'm not gonna wait for the colored scans. I'm just gonna read it all in one go. And so I did that, and I got to part 7, and that was a good way to quote unquote end it. I mean, of course, we're in part 8 now, and part 8 might even be better than part 7. And if that's the case, I'll have to make another one of these videos for that. But yeah, but like part 7 was just like it was like, as far as like ending the completed part of JoJo's on that, like that was just so satisfying. But yeah, so Johnny and Gyro are pretty much my favorite characters in part 7. Ringo is my second favorite, or well, Johnny Gyro number 1. Ringo would be my second. Johnny or Gyro number 2, so Ringo would be my third. But yeah, Ringo's pretty much after them. His stand in Mandem is pretty cool. But it's actually his backstory, which I like the whole welcome to the true man's world, being like a gunsman, and he's just so cool. Sandman, like he would pretty much be after Ringo. He was amazing. I love his stuff with his Native American tribe. Weka Pipo. I was so pissed they did my boy Weka Pipo dirty like that. With the cubes, you guys know what I'm talking about. Gyro's father, Gregorio Zepelli, I thought he was like a very underrated and character. I think he's probably the most underrated character in part 7, just because of like how seriously he takes his executioner role, and I like that. I like characters like that. People who are able to remove sort of their emotional attachment to someone from their job. I value that kind of quality and attribute in characters. Hot Pants was good. Steven Steele I liked a lot. The thing about Steven Steele was that usually I call out like pedophilic relationships in JoJo's, but Steven and Lucy were actually not married, which I thought was something that I liked. It was like a first, because Lucy I think is like 14 years old and Steven's like 42. And keep in mind, like, this is during the 1800s in the Americas, so yeah. But Steven Steele, I thought got some major plus points for me, especially for what he did at the end of part 7. Not with the corpse, but like when he was on the train. Lucy Steele, I actually thought she was like a pretty good female character, which is amazing considering that she was only 14 years old. Fu from Samurai Champloo, she needs to step her game up with respect to Lucy. Diego Brando was obviously amazing. Like the fact that well, actually I'm not gonna spoil it, but I've seen the light now. I prefer Diego to Dio. I do. Mountain Tim I thought could have been a little better. I just felt like the fact that he liked Lucy, who was 14. Apparently, like, he's like the alternate counterpart of Speedwagon, but whatever. I didn't think his stand was that particularly interesting as well, but I did like his whole sheriff role. I wish we did get more insight into his into his like detective sheriff role, but that's okay. Funny Valentine after that, great villain. Maybe not particularly my favorite, but still a villain that I enjoyed. Still someone that I value a whole lot as a character. And then as far as like the henchmen go, Axl Rowe and Pork Pie Hat Kid were some of my favorites besides Ringo as well. And I don't know if you could count Sandman, but him too. Um, but yeah, like those are pretty much my favorite characters. And as for stands, Tusk I would probably say is my favorite stand, especially Act 4 Tusk. It's a shame because Acts 3 and 4 only show up towards like Act 4 I should say only appears like towards the end, like the last like 10 chapters or so of Part 7, which kind of sucks because it's such a cool stand, such a cool looking stand. I wish I could see more of it, but Scary Monster, Diego's whole raptor, his whole raptor stand, and Dr. Ferdinand's, who we got it from. That was something that I liked, just because it looks cool. D4C, Devil Deeds, Dirty Deeds Done. Well, no, Dirty Deeds Done Dirty Cheap. I think that's what it's called. Devil Cheap. I don't know. I forget what, but that was a cool stand. Especially like when it loses like its bunny ears. I thought that was pretty cool. Its ability is awesome. Listen to My Rhythm, which I think was Miss Robinson's. Yeah, the one with the bombs. I think that's what it was. And that was a cool the clock bombs on the water and stuff. That was cool. Miss Robinson, like when he was defeated with Gyro's ball to his face and like his face cracked and was bleeding, like that was very grotesque, and I was like, ugh. Like I recoiled and my skin was crawling when I read that. Ball Breaker, funny name, but Ball Breaker, Gyro's stand that we see towards the end when he's fighting Funny Valentine, when the ocean and everything is like drawing towards them. That was a cool stand. The whole rotation thing, that was pretty nice. The whole steel ball power I felt was like, sort of like a alternate counterpart to Hamon / Sendo. I think that was the case. So even like without the stands, just using the steel balls, I thought was pretty cool. Even like Wekapipo's variation of the steel ball with like the exploding particles, that was pretty cool. In a Silent Way, which is Sandman stand, the stuff with the sound, that was awesome. Catch the Rainbow, which I think Catch the Rainbow was Blackmore's with the rain. That was awesome. Tubular Bells with the balloon and the nails. I like that one. And Civil War, which was Axl Rose, where like it was like the guilt like locks onto people. I like that one too. So those are my favorite stands. I don't know what else I got to talk about. I guess like one of the things that I really value about this part is that like every character has like a very good backstory, and you really feel for every character. Johnny, Gyro, Ringo, Sandman, Wekapipo, Hot Pants, Steven Steele, Lucy Steele, Diego. Well, yeah, Diego. Yeah, Diego. You feel for. Mountain Tim, I think, is the only one who doesn't get a backstory. But even Funny Valentine, like his backstory with his father, and when he was going through the Devil's Paw in the desert, that was awesome. Axl Rowe, you can tell like what he was feeling like from the stand. So like all my favorite characters like had like that emotional, like you could make like that emotional connection with them, which I thought was pretty awesome. Another thing I like about one of the things I like about JoJo's is like always like the ending of the parts are just like fan freaking tastic, and particularly this is no different. Like the ending, like the ending fights with Funny Valentine, and then like later with Diego and the corpse and all that, like though it's so emotionally charged. Like when Johnny's holding like Gyro's steel ball and he's like, let's go home, or when he's looking at Gyro, like when when Funny Valentine ultimately is defeated, Johnny's face when you know who wins the steel ball race, he's like oh man, just so emotionally charged, and real that to me I think is like the best, one of the best, if not the best part, like one of the best parts of part 7. And the whole mystery, I think, with the whole like who the course belongs to, how that particular saint connects with the rest of the Joestars, the whole heaven and God theme that has been prevalent throughout like all the other parts, and now it's sort of like coming. There's sort of like a revelation, if you will, here in part 7. And just some like the clever like references and homages to like previous parts, like the whole Devil's Palm thing, and even the corpse parts. They could be like alternate counterparts of, say, like the arrows from parts 4 and 5, and like yeah, even 6, I would say, because Jolene, like, she nicked her finger on the amulet, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that was part of an arrowhead. So, oh yeah, by the way, JoJo's Part 4 anime coming soon. Hyped for that. Maybe I like it more than the manga, we'll see. But, yeah, like, the art was fantastic. Just seeing the Americas in the 1800s. Learning about, like, horse riding. I say horse riding. Horse riding. The golden rectangle stuff. With the hole, with the holes in the middle and the spiral. That's just fantastic. And, yeah, it's just honestly like just a 10 out of 10. Like, 95 chapters, perfect length, perfect pacing. Never felt like it was a chore to read. And oh man, I mean, I just like, even like the end of part 7, and this isn't like a spoiler in terms of like story purposes, but the last panel has like a ship going off like out to sea. If you guys read the end of part 1, like, that's the same thing. And so, like, there's always, like, these clever homages to, like, stuff that we saw in, to stuff that we saw, like, in previous parts. Like, even with Diego, and, like, with Dio in part 1. Remember that? There you go. So, yeah, just a fantastic part. I hope you guys read it. It's honestly just a 10 out of 10. Like, I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my animelist.com or .net, whatever it is. And, you know, I didn't give Dragon Ball that. I didn't give Yu Yu Hakusho that. I gave Dragon Ball a 9, Yu Yu Hakusho an 8, Gintama a 9, Toriko an 8. But, yeah, like, this, like, JoJo's, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the manga, is a 10 out of 10. I think the only... I mean, I've given 10 out of 10 to stuff in anime. Cowboy Bebop, I gave it 10 out of 10. I think I gave Trust and Betrayal, the Kenshin OVA, I think I gave that a 10. Forget what else I gave a 10, but it's very rare that I give a 10 out of 10, but Steel Ball Run, as far as I'm concerned, is a 10 out of 10. So I hope you guys read it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope I can see you on my next manga review, which I'll be recording right after this. Thanks, and have a great day.